back to my growing up on 6th Street, I just had a lot of really neat memories. I went to a school called Falwell School, which was a block and a half from my house. My mother remembers when Falwell was open, there was an editorial in the Rochester Post-Bulletin, the newspaper, that was criticizing the school board for this fancy school they built out in the southwest area where the doctors lived, because it was had Spanish tile roof. It was designed by an architect, Crawford, who became a very famous architect in Rochester. They spent $39,000 building that school, and there was only 39 kids in the school. And this editorial really rapped the school board for spending $1,000 a kid for this grade school. But anyway, so I was certainly not the first group of kids through there, because it was in the early 40s that I was in grade school. And some of the memories are, always walked to school, always came home for lunch. In those days, it was war days, as I said. Second World War was in full progress, and we'd take a dime to school to buy a war stamp, and you'd get a book full of war stamps, and you get a war bond. My mom, once I was born, she stayed home. And I was, by the way, born in St. Mary's Hospital, just a few blocks from where we ended up living. And my mother, I was delivered as a cesarean birth, which was very, very rare in those days. My mother says I was the second one born under male's care, but I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what her story is. The sisters gave her last rites. Apparently a lot of cesarean births, the survival rate was not too good in those days, but I made it. My mother had rheumatic fever when she was a child, and it somehow deformed her hip or pelvis structure so that she couldn't pass a child through her pelvis. So they tried and tried and tried to have me born a natural birth. I was supposed to be born in January, and I ended up being born in February, about 3 weeks later than they had picked for a due date for her, because they tried so hard to get a natural childbirth. It happened, but it didn't.